The storm raged for 14 hours, inside the circle of Varthak's Zava body. Elias drifted in and out of sleep. The dragon's scales were warm, not burning hot like fire, but steady and deep, like stones that had been sitting in the sun. It was the strangest thing Elias had ever experienced. He was sleeping against a creature that could swallow him in one bite, and somehow he felt safer than he had in years. When he woke properly, the world was still white with snow, but the wind had died down to something almost gentle. Varthak's golden eyes were open, watching him. "You talk in your sleep," she said. "Sorry." Elias sat up slowly. His body ached everywhere. "What did I say?" "You called for your father." Elias looked away. The grief was still there, heavy and cold in his chest. It would be there for a long time, he knew. Maybe forever. "Tell me about him," Varthak said. "Why?" "Because we have time. Because I wish to understand." The dragon shifted slightly, her injured wing folding closer to her body. "In 300 years, I have never met a creature like you. I wish to know what made you." So Elias talked. He told her about his father's hands, how they were always moving, always fixing. He told her about the small apartment they had shared on the Meridian's Hope, crowded with spare parts and tools. He told her about the way his father would wake up at 3 in the morning because he had dreamed of a solution to some engineering problem. He told her about his father's laugh and his father's cooking, and the songs his father would sing while he worked. He told her about the day his mother died. "She was sick," Elias said quietly. "Cancer. The medical bay on Earth could not help her. So my dad sold everything we had, our house, our savings, everything, and bought us tickets on the Meridian's Hope. He thought maybe the colony on Kepler 442 would have better medicine, new technology, a chance." Elias picked at a loose thread on his suit. "She died 6 months into the journey. But my dad, he never stopped trying, even when the doctors said there was nothing more they could do. He stayed by her bed. He held her hand. He told her stories about the colony, about the new life we would have." Varthak was silent for a long time, and now he is gone too. She said finally, "Yes, you are alone." "Yes." The dragon made a sound deep in her throat, not a growl, but something softer. Almost sad. "I have been alone for a very long time," she said. "Not physically. I have servants, generals, an entire court that tends to my every need. But I have been alone in a way that has nothing to do with company." She lifted her great head and looked out at the falling snow. "Among the Kithaeron, trust is weakness. Love is a target painted on your chest. We form alliances, not friendships. We take mates, but we do not love them. We have children, but we do not nurture them. From birth, we are taught that the only person we can rely on is ourselves." "That sounds terrible," Elias said. "It is efficient. It is logical. It is how we conquered 17 star systems." Varthak paused. "It is also why I am dying alone in the snowstorm, betrayed by my own blood." "Who betrayed you?" "My sister. My generals. Half my court." The dragon's voice was bitter. "I have ruled for 300 years. I have never been weak. I have never shown mercy. I have been everything a Kithaeron queen should be. And still, they turned on me. Because that is what Kithaerons do. That is our culture. That is our strength." She laughed, and it was a hollow sound. Some strength. Elias thought about this. He thought about his father, who had died for strangers. He thought about the way humans helped each other, not because it was logical, but because it felt right. He thought about the warmth of Varthak's scales against his back, and how a monster had chosen to save him, even though it went against everything she believed. "Maybe strength doesn't mean what you think it means," he said. "Then, what does it mean, little human?" Elias was quiet for a moment. He could hear his father's voice in his head, calm and steady, explaining the world. "My dad used to say that anyone can break things. Elias said. Breaking is easy. You don't need to be smart or brave or good to break things. You just need to be willing to destroy. He pulled his father's toolkit onto his lap and ran his fingers over the worn leather. But fixing things, that's hard. Fixing takes patience. It takes knowledge. It takes caring about something enough to put in the work. My dad said that the measure of a person, the real measure, isn't what they can destroy. It's what they can build, what they can repair, what they can make whole again. Vorthak stared at him. And you believe this? I believe it because I've seen it. Elias met her golden eyes. I've seen humans survive things that should have killed them because they helped each other. I've seen people give their last food to strangers. I've seen crews hold together through disasters because they treated each other like family. And yeah, some of them died. My dad died. But the things they saved, the people they saved, they lived on. They carried something forward. That's what fixing things means. That's what it's for. The dragon was silent for a long time. My whole life, she said finally, I have believed that to need others is weakness. That to help others is foolish. That the only way to survive is to be the strongest, the most ruthless, the most feared. She looked at her broken wing, held together with cargo straps and human ingenuity. But here I am, alive because a child stopped in a snowstorm. Here we both are, Elias said. Alive because we helped each other. Vorthax made a sound that might have been a sigh. Your species confuses me, Elias Varn. Yeah, Elias smiled a little. We confuse ourselves sometimes too. The snow continued to fall. The wind whispered across the frozen mountains. Somewhere above them, through the clouds, the debris of the Meridian's hope continued its slow descent. The other survivors were out there scared, cold, probably dying. When the storm breaks, Vorthak said slowly, I will take you to find your people. You don't have to do that. I know. The dragon settled her head on the snow, her golden eyes half closed. But perhaps I am tired of only destroying. Perhaps I would like to try fixing something for a change. Elias leaned against her warm scales. That's a good start, he said, and for the first time in 300 years. Vorthax felt something she had long forgotten. She felt hope. Vorthax had lived for 342 years. She had conquered 11 worlds before her 100th birthday. She had killed challenges with her claws, her fire, and her mind. She had watched stars die and empires fall. She was the Queen Regent of the Kitharan Dominion, ruler of 17 star systems, commander of a fleet that could burn planets to ash, and now a human child was wrapping cargo straps around her broken wing. This will work better if you stop growling, the boy said. I am not growling. Vorthax growled. The boy paused. He looked up at her with eyes that held no fear. This confused her more than anything else. Every creature she had ever met had feared her. Warriors twice her size had trembled before her gaze. Entire species had surrendered at the sight of her fleet. Fear was the natural response to power, and Vorthax had more power than almost any being in the known galaxy. But this boy just looked at her like she was a broken machine that needed repair. Okay, he said, but please try to hold still. The bone needs to be set straight, or it won't heal right. He was working on her wing. Her wing, the thing that let her fly, that made her more than just a beast crawling on the ground. Some traitor in her court had sabotaged her ship, and she had crashed on this frozen nowhere world, and her wing had broken. And now a tiny human was trying to fix it with tools meant for repairing cargo containers. It was absurd. It was insulting. It was there, the boy said. He stepped back and looked at his work. That should hold. The bone is back in place, and I sealed the membrane tier with emergency sealant. It won't let you fly properly, but you should be able to glide. Maybe. Vorthax tried to move her wing. It hurt, but it moved. The bone shifted in something close to the right way. The straps held the structure together like a crude skeleton dot. It was not pretty. It was not elegant. But it worked. Why? She asked. The boy was putting his tools back into a worn leather case. His hands were shaking badly now. The cold was eating at him. His environmental suit had failed. She could see the dead indicator lights. He would be dead within the hour if something did not change. Why what? He asked. Why did you help me? Vorthax lifted her great head and fixed him with her golden stare. You do not know me. You do not owe me anything. I threatened to kill you. I am clearly a predator. Everything in your biology should tell you to run from me. Yet, you stopped. You helped. Why? The boy thought about this. The snow swirled around them both. The wind screamed. My dad used to say that everything breaks eventually, he said. Machines, ships, people, everything. And when something breaks, you have two choices. You can walk past it and let it stay broken. Or you can try to fix it. And you chose to fix me. Yes. Even though I might kill you. You might, the boy agreed. But you're still hurt. And I have tools. And my dad. He stopped. His voice cracked. My dad taught me that you don't walk past something broken if you have the tools to help. That's what you do. Vorthax studied the boy. Really studied him. He was small even for a human, she suspected. His suit was torn. His face was pale from cold. He was grieving. She could see it in the way he held himself, in the pauses when he mentioned his father. This child had lost someone, recently, perhaps in the same disaster that had brought him to this world. And still he had stopped to help a dying monster. Your father, she said. Where is he? Dead. The word came out flat, empty. He died on the ship, holding the doors so the kids could get to the pods. The boy closed his toolkit and hugged it against his chest. He was a maintenance engineer. He fixed things his whole life. Engines, life support systems, water, recyclers. Anything that broke, he could fix it. But he could not fix the ship. No, so he held the doors instead. The boy's voice shook, but his eyes stayed dry. He had no tears left, Vorthax realized. He had spent them all. He could have run. He could have made it to the pods. But if he let go of the doors, the whole deck would have decompressed. 50 kids would have died, so he died instead. Yes, Vorthax did not understand this. In Kithran culture, the strong survived. That was the law. The weak died so the strong could live. A Kithran in that situation would have run for the pods and let the children die. It was logical. It was efficient. It was the way of power. But humans, it seemed, were not logical. Your father was a fool, Vorthax said. The boy looked at her. For the first time, she saw something like anger in his eyes. No, he said. He wasn't. He died for strangers. He gave his life for creatures who were not his blood, not his kin. In my culture, this is weakness. This is, in your culture, you're dying alone in a snowstorm, the boy said quietly. Vorthax stopped. The boy was shaking harder now. His lips were turning blue, but he did not look away from her. You said someone betrayed you, he continued. Someone in your own court. Someone you trusted. They shot you down and left you here to die. That's your culture of strength, right? That's what happens when everyone is just looking out for themselves. You know nothing of my culture, child. Maybe not. But I know that my dad is dead because he helped people. And I know that you're alive because I helped you. The boy hugged his toolkit tighter. His whole body was shaking now. Maybe being strong isn't about never needing help. Maybe it's about being the kind of person who gives it. Vorthax said nothing. The wind howled. The snow fell. The boy's eyes began to close. He was dying. The cold was taking him piece by piece. Soon he would fall asleep and he would not wake up. This strange, foolish, brave little creature who had stopped to help a monster, he would freeze to death in the snow. And his body would be buried, and no one would ever know what he had done. Varthax moved. She did not know why she did it. 300 years of Kithran instinct screamed at her to let the weak die. But something else moved in her, something old and quiet that she had almost forgotten she possessed. She curled her massive body around the boy. Her scales radiated heat more than enough to keep a small human alive. She wrapped her good wing over him like a blanket. The boy made a small sound of surprise, then relaxed against her. "What are you doing?" he mumbled. "Fixing something," Vorthax said. The boy smiled. It was a small smile, tired and sad and somehow still bright. "That's good," he said. "That's what you do." He fell asleep against the side of a dragon queen, and Vorthax held him through the night. And she did not understand why she felt like something inside her had just been repaired. The alarms had been screaming for 3 minutes when Elias felt his father's hands on his shoulders. The ship was dying. Everyone knew it. The Meridian's hope had carried 3,000 people through the black emptiness of space for 2 years, and now something in its heart had broken. The lights flickered red. The floor shook like a living thing, trying to throw them off. People ran through the corridors, their faces twisted with fear. Elias was 12 years old. He did not want to die. "Listen to me," his father said. Marcus Varn was a maintenance engineer. His hands were rough from years of fixing things. Oil stains lived permanently under his fingernails. He knelt down so his eyes were level with his son's. "You need to get to the escape pods. Deck 7. You remember the way?" "Dad, come with me." "I will. I promise. But first, I need to hold the bulkhead doors." The seals are failing on Deck 4, and if they go, the decompression will kill everyone in the children's section. His father pressed something into Elias's hands. A toolkit. Worn leather, soft from years of use. "Take this. Keep it with you. Dad. Go, Elias. Run. I'll find you." Elias ran. He ran through corridors filled with smoke and screaming. He ran past families holding each other. He ran past crew members trying to seal doors that would not seal. He made it to Deck 7. He climbed into an escape pod with 11 other people. The pod launched. Through the tiny window, Elias watched the Meridian's hope break apart. It happened slowly at first, then all at once. Great pieces of metal tore away and tumbled into the darkness. Fire bloomed in the vacuum, orange and silent. The ship that had been his home for 2 years became a cloud of debris falling toward the white planet below. His father had not made it to the pods. Elias knew this. He felt it in his chest like a cold stone. His father had stayed at the bulkhead doors. His father had held them closed with his own hands while the ship died around him. His father had saved the children's deck. His father was gone. The escape pod hit the atmosphere hard. Everything shook. The other passengers screamed. Elias held his father's toolkit against his chest and closed his eyes. He thought about his father's hands, always busy, always fixing something. He thought about the way his father would whistle while he worked. He thought about the last words his father had said to him, "I'll find you," but he wouldn't. Elias knew he wouldn't. The pod crashed. When Elias woke up, he was alone. The other passengers were gone. Later, he would learn that the pod had broken apart on impact, scattering people across the frozen landscape. Some had survived. Some had not. But in that moment, all Elias knew was the cold dot. It was a cold unlike anything he had ever felt. It crawled inside his suit and wrapped around his bones. His breath came out in white clouds that froze on his visor. The heating element in his suit flickered, made a sad little sound, and died. Outside the broken pod, there was only white. Elias climbed out. The wind hit him like a fist. Snow flew sideways, so thick he could barely see his own hands. He was on a mountain. That much he could tell. Everything else was a mystery. The pod's navigation system was dead. His communication device was dead. Everything was dead. He had maybe 2 hours before the cold killed him. Elias started walking. He did not know where he was going. He only knew that standing still meant death. His father had taught him that. When things break, you move. You find a solution. You don't give up. He walked for what felt like hours, but was probably only minutes. The cold made time strange. His fingers went numb first, then his toes. His face hurt, then stopped hurting, which was worse. He fell twice. He got up twice. The third time he fell, he was not sure he could get up again. That was when he saw the dragon dot. It was half buried in a snowdrift, and at first Elias thought it was a rock formation. A strange dark shape against all that white. But then it moved. A great head lifted from the snow, and Elias found himself looking at something impossible. The creature was enormous. Its body was longer than a shuttle. Its scales were black as deep space, and they glittered faintly even in the dim stormlight. Great wings lay crumpled at its sides, torn and bleeding. Its eyes were gold, and they burned with pain and fury. It was the most terrifying thing Elias had ever seen. It was also clearly dying. The dragon's breath came in ragged gasps. Dark blood stained the snow beneath it. One of its wings was bent at a wrong angle, and Elias could see where the bone had broken through the scales. The creature tried to rise and failed. It made a sound that might have been a growl, or might have been a moan. Elias should have run. Every survival instinct in his small human body screamed at him to run. This creature could kill him with a single breath. It probably would kill him. He should find shelter. He should hide. He walked toward it, the dragon's golden eyes fixed on him. Elias saw intelligence there. Not animal intelligence, but something deeper. Something old and vast and angry. "You are small," the dragon said. Its voice was like thunder trapped in a cave. Elias felt it in his chest. He stopped walking. The dragon spoke. It actually spoke. His mind struggled to process this fact. "Yes," Elias said. His voice came out as a croak. "I'm 12. 12 years old. I'm a human. He did not know how to explain what he was. "I crashed here. Like you." The dragon made that sound again, half growl, half moan. "I did not crash, small creature. I was betrayed. Shot down by my own kind." Its great head fell back against the snow. "I am dying. And so are you. The cold will take us both." Elias looked at the dragon's wing. The broken one. He could see how the bone had shattered, how the membrane had torn. It was bad. It was very bad, but his father had fixed worse. "Maybe not," Elias said. He opened his toolkit. "Hold still. This is going to hurt." The dragon stared at him. Then it laughed. It was a terrible sound, like mountains breaking. "You think you can fix me, little human?" Elias pulled out a bone saw, some emergency sealant, and a roll of cargo straps. His hands were shaking from the cold, but his mind was calm. He had watched his father work 1,000 times. He knew how to look at something broken and see how it could be whole again. "My late father taught me to fix things," he said. "Now please hold still." The Dragon Queen, ancient ruler of 17 star systems, fell silent, and the human boy got to work. Dawn came gray and cold, but the storm had finally stopped. Vorthax stretched her massive body and tested her injured wing. The pain was still there, sharp and deep, but the boy's crude repairs held. She could not fly properly, but she could glide. She could move. Climb on, she told Elias. The boy looked at her with wide eyes. Climb on? My back. Between my shoulders. I will carry you to your people. Vorathax lowered herself so he could reach. Unless you prefer to walk. Elias did not prefer to walk. He climbed up carefully, finding handholds among her scales. His weight was nothing to her, like a small bird landing on a branch. When he was settled, she rose to her full height, and he made a sound of surprise at how far off the ground he suddenly was. Hold on, she said. This will not be smooth. She launched herself from the mountain, spreading her wings wide. The broken one screamed in protest. The cargo straps creaked. But she was flying or something close to it. She caught the wind and glided down toward the valley below, scanning the frozen landscape for signs of human survivors. It did not take long to find them. The main wreckage of the Meridian's Hope was scattered across a frozen plain. Great chunks of metal and plastic lay half buried in the snow. Small fires burned here and there, and around them huddled groups of humans. Vorathax circled lower, counting. Maybe 200 survivors. Maybe fewer. There, Elias said, pointing. That's the main section. That's where the control deck was. Vorathax landed at the edge of the camp. The impact was not graceful. Her broken wing gave out at the last moment, and she tumbled through the snow, sending Elias rolling off her back. But they were both alive. They were both on the ground. The humans saw her. Vorathax had expected screaming. She had expected running. She had expected the primitive fear that small creatures felt when facing a predator. But these humans did not run. They stared. Then a woman stepped forward. She was tall for a human, with dark skin and a bandage wrapped around her head. Her arm was in a sling. She looked at Vorathax. She looked at Elias, who was picking himself up from the snow. She looked back at Vorathax. Elias? The woman said. Elias Vaughn? Commander Chun. Elias ran toward her. You survived. Barely. Commander Chun hugged him with her one good arm. We thought you were dead. Your pod signal cut out hours ago. She looked past him at Vorathax. And what? What is this? This is Vorathax, Elias said. She's a dragon. She's also a queen. She saved my life. Commander Chun blinked. A dragon. Yes. A dragon queen. Yes. Saved your life. Well, I fixed her wing first. Then she kept me warm during the storm. Then she flew me here. Elias smiled. It's been a weird day. Vorathax watched this exchange with interest. She watched how the other humans gathered around Elias, touching his shoulders, asking if he was hurt. She watched how Commander Chun organized them with calm words and steady hands, even though she was clearly injured herself. She watched how the strong helped the weak, how the healthy tended to the sick, how children were gathered and protected and reassured that no one was fighting for resources. No one was hoarding food. No one was leaving the injured behind. They were working together. How many survived? Vorathax asked. Commander Chun turned to face her. To her credit, she did not flinch. 187. Out of 3,000. Her voice was flat, empty of emotion. The emotion would come later, Vorathax knew. Right now, this woman was holding herself together through pure will. Our life support is failing. We have maybe 48 hours of heat left in the emergency generators. After that, she did not finish the sentence. Vorathax looked at the camp. She saw the makeshift shelters built from wreckage. She saw the small fires that provided the only warmth. She saw humans huddled together under emergency blankets, sharing body heat because there was no other choice. She also saw something she had never seen before. A man with a broken leg was teaching a group of children how to build a snow shelter. A woman with burns on her hands was carefully rationing water, making sure everyone got the same amount. Two teenagers were repairing a damaged communication device, working together, passing tools back and forth with the easy rhythm of long practice. They were fixing things. Everything was broken. Their ship, their plans, their lives, and they were fixing things. Your species, Vorthax said slowly. You do not know how to give up. Commander Chun shrugged with her good shoulder. We're stubborn. It's a survival trait. Before Vorthax could respond, the sky screamed. She looked up. Lights blazed through the clouds, dozens of them, descending fast. Ships. Her ships. The Kithran fleet had found her beacon. The humans began to panic. They had never seen Kithran warships before, but they knew danger when they saw it. Commander Chun started shouting orders, trying to organize some kind of defense, but there was nothing to defend with. No weapons. No shields. No hope. Vorthax felt something cold settle in her chest. Her fleet was here. Her generals. They would have detected the human life signs. They would know that these small, fragile creatures had witnessed the Queen region injured. Helpless, dependent on alien charity. In Kithran culture, there was only one response to such a situation. Kill the witnesses. Erase the shame. The first warship landed. Then the second. Then the third. Massive vessels, bristling with weapons, each one capable of destroying a small moon. Soldiers poured out, tall, scaled warriors in black armor, their golden eyes scanning the camp with predatory focus. General Kethris marched toward Vorthax. He was her oldest general, her most loyal commander. He had served her for 2 centuries. He was also the one who had helped her sister sabotage her ship. My queen, he said, bowing low. We are relieved to find you alive. Your sister claimed you had died in the crash. We did not believe her. The lie was smooth, professional. Vorthax could see the calculation in his eyes. He had expected her to die on this frozen world. Now she was alive, and he needed to adapt his plans. The humans, Kethris continued. They have seen you in a weakened state. The Kithran code requires. I know what the code requires. Then, you know we must eliminate them. Witnesses to royal weakness cannot be allowed to survive. It would damage your authority. Your sister would use it against you. Kethris gestured to his soldiers. Give the order, my queen. We will make it quick. Vorthax looked at the humans. They were huddled together now, the healthy protecting the sick, the adults shielding the children. Commander Chun stood at the front, unarmed but unbowed. Elias was beside her, still holding his father's toolkit. He met Vorthax S. He did not beg. He did not plead. He just looked at her with those strange, soft human eyes, and she saw no fear in them. No anger. Only something that looked almost like faith. You could help them, his expression seemed to say. You have the power. You have the choice. You could fix this. Vorthax turned to General Kethris. Tell me, she said quietly. Why did you help my sister betray me? Kethris' golden eyes flickered. My queen, I don't know what you sabotaged my ship. You shut me down. You left me to die on this rock. Vorthax rose to her full height, and even injured, even broken, she was terrifying. Did you think I would not find out? Did you think me weak? The general's hand moved toward his weapon. Vorthax was faster. When it was over, Kethris lay dead in the snow, and the other soldiers stood frozen, uncertain. They had just watched their queen kill a general with her bare claws. They did not know what happened next. Neither did Vorthax. She looked at the humans. She looked at her fleet. She looked at Elias, still standing there, still holding his toolkit, still waiting, and she made a choice that would change the galaxy forever. Vorathak's voice carried across the frozen plain. "These humans," she said, "are under my protection." The soldiers stared. The humans stared. Even Commander Chun, who had faced down pirates and asteroids and engine failures, looked like she could not believe what she was hearing. "My queen," one of the captains said carefully. "The code requires. I am changing the code." Silence. Total, absolute silence. The wind itself seemed to hold its breath. Vorathak looked at her soldiers. She saw confusion in their golden eyes. She saw fear. She saw the beginning of something that might become rebellion if she did not handle this carefully. But she also saw something else. Some of them, the younger ones, the ones who had not yet hardened into perfect Ketheran cruelty, were looking at the human survivors with something close to curiosity. They saw the way the humans held each other, the way they protected their weak, the way they faced certain death without turning on one another. They had never seen anything like it. "For 300 years, Vorathak said, I have ruled by strength, by fear, by the code that tells us weakness must be destroyed and mercy is foolish. I have conquered worlds. I have crushed rebellions. I have been everything a Ketheran queen should be." She paused. "And what has it brought me? Betrayal, isolation, a sister who wants me dead, and generals who would sell me for power." She turned to look at Elias. The boy stood beside Commander Chun, small and fragile and utterly unafraid. "I crashed on this world dying," Vorathak continued. "My wing was broken. My ship was destroyed. I had nothing. And a human child, a child who had just lost his father, who was freezing to death, who had every reason to run stop to help me. He fixed my wing with tools meant for cargo containers. He stayed with me through the storm. He asked for nothing in return." The soldiers exchanged glances. This was not how queens spoke. This was not how power worked. His father taught him that the measure of a person is not what they can destroy, Vorathak said. It is what they can fix, what they can build, what they can make whole again. She spread her wings, the broken ones still wrapped in cargo straps, still held together by human ingenuity. "Look at me. I am the most powerful being on this world, and I am alive because a 12-year-old boy refused to walk past something broken." She turned back to her soldiers. "Perhaps," she said slowly, "we have been measuring strength wrong." For a long moment, nothing happened. The soldiers stood frozen. The humans stood frozen. The whole world seemed to hang in balance, waiting. Then one soldier, young, barely more than a child by Ketheran standards, stepped forward. She removed her helmet. Her scales were dark blue, her eyes uncertain. "What would you have us do, my queen?" Vorathak looked at the human camp. The failing life support, the injured and the dying, the children huddled in the cold. "Help them," she said. The fleet moved. Medical drones descended from the warships, carrying healing technology that humans had never seen. Thermal units were deployed, creating warm zones where the injured could be treated. Food synthesizers produced rations. Soldiers, Ketheran soldiers, bred for war and conquest, began carrying human children to the warm zones, their armored hands gentle in a way that seemed almost impossible. Commander Chun watched this with tears streaming down her face. She did not seem to notice them. "Why?" she asked Vorathak. "Why are you doing this?" "Because I am tired of breaking things," the Queen Regent replied. "Because a human boy showed me that fixing is harder than destroying, and that harder is not the same as weakness." She watched a Ketheran soldier carefully bandage a human woman's burned hands. "Because I have conquered 17 star systems and never felt anything. And now I feel something. I do not know what to call it, but I know I do not want it to stop." Elias appeared beside them. He was watching the scene with wide eyes, the dragon soldiers helping the human survivors. Two species that had never met before working together in the snow. "You know," he said, "my dad would have liked this." Vorathax looked at him. "Would he?" "Yeah. He always said that the best machines weren't the ones that worked alone. They were the ones where all the parts worked together. He said that's what made them strong." Elias smiled. "I think he would have said you're making a good machine." "I do not know if I am making anything," Vorathax said. "I am simply trying something different." "That's how all the best things start," Elias said. The rescue took 3 days. By the end, all 187 human survivors had been treated, fed, and transported to the largest Kithran warship. Commander Chun had argued at first. She did not want her people on an alien military vessel, but she had no choice. The humans had nothing. The Kithrans had everything. And for some reason, they were sharing. Word spread through the galaxy. The Queen Regent of the Kithran Dominion had saved a group of human refugees. She had declared them under her protection. She had killed a general who suggested otherwise. She was bringing them back to Kithran space, not as prisoners, but as guests. It was impossible. It was unprecedented. It was the beginning of everything. Vorathax's sister tried to use it against her. She called Vorathax weak. She said the Queen Regent had been corrupted by alien influence. She demanded that the humans be handed over to demonstrate Kithran strength. The challenge lasted less than a day. Vorathax faced her sister in the traditional arena. It should have been a fight to the death. But when Vorathax had her sister pinned, claws at her throat, she paused. "I could kill you," she said. "That is what the code demands. That is what strength requires." Her sister snarled. "Then do it, coward." Vorathax thought about Elias, about his father, about cargo straps and emergency sealant and the stubborn human refusal to let things stay broken. "No," she said. "I am done killing family." She released her sister. She walked away. The court watched in shocked silence as the challenger was escorted to exile instead of death. It was the first public mercy in 300 years of Kithran history. It would not be the last. The Human-Kithran alliance formed slowly. It started with trade agreements, then cultural exchanges, then, eventually, shared colonies and joint fleets and marriages between species that should have been enemies. Historians would later write long books about how it happened. They would study treaties and economic data. They would analyze military strategies and political movements. They would never know the true beginning. They would never know about a frozen mountain on an unnamed world, about a dragon queen with a broken wing and a human boy with a toolkit, about the longest night of the storm, when a monster learned to hope and a child learned that grief could become purpose. Elias grew up on a Kithran world. He became an engineer, like his father. He fixed things, ships and stations, and sometimes relationships between humans and aliens who did not understand each other. He married a Kithran pilot. They had children who were impossible by every biological standard, children who carried the fire of dragons and the stubborn hearts of humans. Vorathax ruled for another 200 years. She changed the code. She changed her people. She built something new from the ashes of something old. And every year, on the anniversary of the crash, she visited a small memorial on a frozen world. The plaque there was simple. Marcus, Varn, engineer, father. He fixed things. The first time Vorathax visited, she did not understand why her eyes burned. The second time, she understood. The third time, she brought flowers. By the 10th time, she brought the entire Kithran High Council. She made them stand in the cold and read the words. "This," she told them, "is what strength looks like." The galaxy was full of species that knew how to break things. The Kithrans had been masters of it for 1,000 years. But it took human, small, fragile, impossibly stubborn humans to teach them something different. Some things are broken. Some things can be fixed. And sometimes, a boy with a toolkit and a dying queen in a snowstorm can change the fate of stars. My late father taught me to fix things, Elias had said on that frozen night. His hands steady, his heart full of grief and purpose. And the Dragon Queen had listened, and the galaxy was never the same.